On the night of August 15, 1974, a sex worker was found dead inside room 5 of a cheap castle hotel at 58 Mongkok Road in Hong Kong. But this was no ordinary killing. According to the official report, after strangling the woman, the murderer grotesquely sliced off her facial features, breasts, and sexual organs, and even called the police later to taunt the authorities. He sent the letter to the press as well, signing it, "The Castle Killer, Black Wolf." His words dripped with disdain, ridiculing the incompetent police for being unable to solve the grisly case. He is such a cunning killer who tied the hands of the police. However, he never suspected his identity will be revealed through supernatural power. If you're also interested in this story, please follow me along and don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. Every Saturday night, I will share real horror stories from Asia with you. Okay, let's go. Let's go back to the night of August 15th, 1974. At around 1 a.m., a man and a woman entered the cheap castle hotel on 58 Mongkok Road. The man, who called himself Mr. Long, was tall and rugged looking, but spoke politely with a gentle smile. The woman had heavy makeup and was smoking, seemed to be a sex worker. The hotel clerk, Mr. Wan, gave them room 5. At 6 a.m. the second day, she saw Mr. Long came out of the room, saying he had to leave for work and reminded Mr. Wang to wake his friend after 11 a.m. Ms. Wang nodded in agreement. Then Mr. Long left with 2 bags in hands, but just after a few steps, he turned back, saying he had forgotten his wallet in the room, then re-entered the room 5 briefly before departing again. During the morning shift change, Ms. Wang reminded the new front desk clerk, Ms. Chen, about the waking up request. However, when Ms. Chen entered the room, she was horrified to find a human figure wrapped up motionless in the bed sheets. Pulling back the shades, a naked female corpse with no face was uncovered. She immediately called the police in terror. The police rushed to the scene, and a medical examiner later confirmed the victim was a thin woman around 31 to 33 years old, 157 centimeters tall, who had died of strangulation just hours ago. For unknown reasons, her facial features, breasts, and buttocks had been sliced off, and her hair was also cut messily. The lead investigating officer was Philip Chen, who later quit the force to become an actor famous for playing cop roles. You can find his info on the internet. Okay, if you're eating now, please take a pause. I don't want to destroy your meal. In a later interview, Chen described the haunting scene. "I saw the white bed sheets is a bit dirty, but not with blood. I didn't know what it was. I put it back and saw an extremely thin person. Her eyebrows, nose, chest, everything was in white patches. At the time I didn't understand, but the examiner later explained it was because the heart stops beating blood to the skin, so slicing the skin after death doesn't make blood come out. That's why I saw her skin like sliced white meat." Later he also added, there were no signs of struggle and the room had been cleaned meticulously. No murder weapon or suspicious fingerprints were found, except for a bra hanging in the closet. We initially suspected the sliced body parts were flushed down the toilet, so a plumber dismantled the pipes to check out, but found nothing. Evidently, the murderer remained calm, carefully cleaning up and leaving no trace behind. Then the police questioned Miss Wang, the previous front desk clerk, to paint a portrait of Mr. Long's. The next morning, his description was released as the prime suspect, with a manhunt across the city. However, that needle in a haystack method had limited effectiveness in that era. After media reports, the Hong Kong Express newspaper received an anonymous letter from someone claiming to be the castle killer Black Wolf. The letter taunted the incompetent police, bragging he had left so many clues, yet they still couldn't catch him. This enraged Officer Chen, but with no other clues, he could only increase staffing on the investigation. On August 17th, the Mongkok police station received a call from Black Wolf.
"Check the air conditioning unit in the room. There are 12 things you are looking for."
He then hung up. Following this tip, Chen and his team revisited room 5 of the Castle Hotel and indeed found the victim's missing body parts in the air conditioning duct. With the recovered remains, police were able to reconstruct the victim's appearance and published it in newspapers on August 18th, hoping someone could identify her. On August 19th morning, an elderly lady, Mrs. K, came to the police station, reporting her daughter had been missing for days. Recognizing the published facial reconstruction, the madam insisted the victim was her daughter. She then showed a color photo of her daughter, and the officer agreed the features looked very similar. They immediately arranged for Mrs. K to identify the body. And so, the victim's identity was confirmed. Liao Fuman, 34 years old, a mother of 2 daughters. She raised the 2 girls on her own, living at 4th floor rear flat on 141 Taiho Road, paying $400 monthly rent. Their life was difficult, but she was very close with her family and neighborly. Lau was a sole breadwinner but had a gambling addiction that drained their finances. In pursuit of better income, she tragically turned to a nightlife. In 1973, Lau Fuman worked as a hair washer at the Roma hair salon, using the name Bodhi or Camilla. Before the murder, she was employed at the Chou Ye Lady Hair Salon on Nelson Street. On the night of August 14th at 11 p.m., she received a call at work and left, never to return. Typically, sex workers didn't take outside calls unless it was a regular client, so Officer Chen deduced the suspect must have been one of Lau's regular customers. Examining the client card found among her belongings, they eventually narrowed it down to 4 suspects. One was a man named Long Xiuping who lived in a public housing flat on Wongchao Street. Since the address was near the police station, Chen and an assistant went to investigate. When they knocked, they were met by a 60-year-old man who said he was Long's uncle, and that Long actually lived at 286 Folkwing Street, not here. After recording the uncle's statement per procedure, Chen was about to leave when he noticed a travel suitcase on the bunk bed. He pointed to it and asked, "What's in there?" "I don't know, it's not mine," the uncle replied. "Is it Long Xiuping's?" Chen asked. "Yes." "Then open it up and let's see." "I can't, I don't have the key," said the uncle. Chen didn't care. He pried the suitcase open himself. Inside were Long and Lau's IDs, photos of them together, Lau's clothing and shoes from before her death, and a knife suspected to be the murder weapon. Just then, the room's phone started ringing. In that moment, Chen guessed it was probably Long's calling. He whipped out his gun, pointed it at the uncle and ordered, "Answer it, but don't say police are here, or I'll shoot you dead." Trembling, the uncle picked up and stuttered for a while, then suddenly shouting, "Run! The police are here!" It seemed Officer Chen's hunch was right. It was Long's calling. However, thanks to the uncle's outburst, the caller immediately hung up. By the time Chen contacted the station to trace the call's origin and location, the suspect had already fled. At 8 a.m. on August 22nd, Long Xiuping was still at large. Meanwhile, Lau Fuman's funeral was held that morning at the Yongbaiting Public Mortuary. Besides Lau's family and friends, a crowd of reporters also attended. Although Lau's sliced body parts had been discovered, they cannot be buried with her as evidence. So during the viewing her remains, Lau still appeared without facial features. Bulging eyes, exposed upper and lower teeth, black holes for her nose and ears. Devastated family members were weeping as reporters insensitively snapped photos, looking for a sensational story. But just as the funeral rites were ending, Lau's brother suddenly grabbed a claver and rushed to the casket, muttering incantation. He stomped his right foot down, smashing the claver into the casket lid with the blade pointing down embedded in the wood. He then shoved the entire casket, claver and all, into the hearse. Actually, his behavior is not creating something from nothing, but a local Hong Kong practice called murderer pursuing, an esoteric Taoist rite. It supposedly allows a vengeful spirit to be summoned to haunt their killer. And from this moment, the case did take an uncanny turn. On the night of August 23rd, just 2 days after Lau's funeral, a female officer on patrol passed through an alley at 131 Keelong Street in Shanshui-Po. There she discovered a bloody man lying on the ground, apparently having fallen from stairs, severely injured and mumbling repeatedly, "There's a ghost, there's a ghost, a ghost." The officer asked what happened, and the man said a woman in red clothing called him up to the heights, then pushed him down. Thinking he had gone mad from his head injuries, she sent him to Kwangwa Hospital for treatment. The man's head wounds were severe enough for stitches, so doctors wheeled him into the operating room. As the nurses and officers checked his clothing to identify him, a photo suddenly fell out of his pocket. The officer picked it up. It was a picture of Lau Fuman herself. Written largely on the back was her stage name, Camilla. Below in smaller text, "Already served her mutilated flesh." They also found a business card in his wallet for Long Xiuping. And just like that, the main suspect in the Castle Hotel murder, Long Xiuping, was apprehended in this bizarre manner. After interrogation, he quickly confessed to killing Lau Fuman. According to Long, he had known Lau for over a year, frequently being her client even after she changed beauty parlors. He had repeatedly professed his love and asked her to stop prostituting herself, but Lau refused, leading to many arguments. To avoid Long's harassment, she transferred jobs again, but he still tracked her down the night before the murder. They went to a hotel room when Long again proposed marriage. Exasperated, Lau insulted Long's lack of money and sexual prowess, which was the final indignity for him. Having drunk that evening and already prone to outbursts, Long flew into a rage and strangled Lau to death. When Chen asked, "Then why did you mutilate her body so grotesquely after her death?" Long snapped, Because I hate her. I messed with her face so no one could recognize her. Chen then asked, what about you, all blooded up? Did someone attack you? Touching the bandage around his head, Long said, it was her vengeful ghost. She kept coming after me in a red dress. I ran and ran until I reached a high building where she finally pushed me down. Later in 2015 interview, Officer Chen, who is Catholic, reflected on this case and said, I believe in God as well as evil forces, but have never seen a ghost myself. In this case, there were just too many inexplicable and uncanny elements that defy scientific logic. I cannot give it an explanation at all. Later, Long Xiuping denied his murder and also submitted to psychiatric evaluations. One expert stated, Long did not have a mental illness but had temporarily lost rationality due to excessive alcohol and drugs before the killing. The judge instructed the jury to consider the expert's report. They eventually ruled 5-2 that Long was not guilty of murder but of manslaughter, sentencing him to 10 years in prison. Long was released on parole in the mid-1980s, so if the Castle Black Wolf is still alive today, he will be an elderly man in his 80s. Lost rationality due to excessive alcohol and drugs? I don't understand. If this was true, then how to explain his taunt to the police? Seems like the alcohol and drugs had a long-lasting effects. So what do you think, guys? Okay, that's all for today. If you like such supernatural murder case, please let me know in the comments, and I'm considering to put more such stories in my channel. Please be sure to let me know if you like it. Bye bye!